All right, everyone, welcome back into another fantasy golf video. Going to be touching on the round 2 showdown picks here for the Mexico Open. Trying to give you guys some prop bets, maybe some 3-ball bets as well if they are available. Let's go on and get into it. So first, let's just go ahead and take a peek at the round 1 recap, kind of just showing you guys how the ownerships are doing right now. Tony Finau came in as the highest owned player. Not shocking given the fact that the data was saying that he would be, but Hogard coming in as the second, the ownership's not shocking. What is shocking is really how well the leverage plays are doing compared to that right now as it sits. You got Grillo, who, just given his low ownership, low projected ownership, and actually came in a little bit lower, he ended up being a pretty good leverage play. We'll see if he does a little bit better with the AMT time tomorrow. It did seem like besides EVR, the AMT times did favor a little bit better, so we'll see about that. But we can see really the only bad leverage play thus far was Mackenzie Hughes and then Thomas Dietrich. That's really it. But you got Olsen in there who ended up being, vastly under-owned, especially compared to the players around him. Patrick Rogers was the play I was telling everyone to get on. And then, we just look at who's currently winning. EVR, that's also not shocking. He was a high exposure play. And luckily for me, I ended up on kind of 2 main builds. It was more one main build and then a secondary main build. This was the main build, which is going pretty well. I ended up on EVR, kind of went more of a balanced approach. I ended up deciding to eat the chalk on Sam Stevens, even though I didn't like him as much as the field. I didn't like doing that, and we'll see. Toasty, he's still going out right now. He's got a par 5 left. Hopefully he gets to even par. He probably should. Lauer came through with a clutch birdie on 18. That was nice. And then, the top 3 guys, they're doing well. I was a little bit worried about Patrick Rogers, EVR. They actually really went out and had a good PM tee time in round, and Yair for that matter, in round 1. So, going pretty well right now. And then fingers crossed as well, have this lineup going currently. Who cares? It's round 1, but this one's in the top 50 right now. The lineup optimizer spit this one out to me. So fingers are crossed. Hopefully it goes well. And really the most interesting thing to me about really the top end of this leaderboard, and let's just sort it by salary. Let's go below 7K or so. It's kind of how much some of these plays were somewhat popping up that you could have ended up on. Griffin, top 65 in the 9 to 5 mile, a player that ranked out to make the cut. He's doing well. Andrew Novak, a player that I tweeted out about his odds on FanDuel compared to BetMGM. On BetMGM, Andrew Novak was 70-1. On FanDuel, he was 170-1. I think it was 80-1 on BetMGM, 170-1 on FanDuel. Anyways, clearly, there is something weird going on. You never see that. Nice to see him doing well, though. And then you got Bramlett, who's playing decently well. Sammy here, who, again, below 7K, certainly someone you could have ended up on. Campillo, Dylan Wu, Baddeley, right around some that you could have ended up on. Then Lauer, the one I wanted to be on the most, we want a little bit more out of him. Harry Hall's doing pretty well. A lot of these golfers that you might have ended up on in the value range, if you paid up for Finau, Grillo, any of those top end guys, you're probably sitting pretty. But let's go ahead and adjust into round 2 here. It is always fun to look at golfers that are going to be the most likely to regress in round 2. And so let's just take a peek at the round 2 regression. So selected round 2 here. And that's what we want to take a peek at. Now, I do want to call out that right now, the round is still going on. So the data is not full. Okay, that's the tough part about giving showdown picks to you guys, is that we have to typically wait until the full slate is done. And then the video comes out too late, or it's already bedtime by that point. That's the tough part of giving showdown content out to you guys. But looking at it right now, we can see based off of the golfers that have finished, Hughes, Dietrich, they're the 2 players that are most likely to play better. That makes a lot of sense, right? They were good looking plays, at least, decent enough, and they were terrible. And so, obviously they're expected to have better rounds now. Are they going to make the cut? Maybe not, but they are golfers that are going to be lower owned because they had a terrible round 1 and could go low. Now, it is a little bit strange, and I do think this is noteworthy, is that the tournament did play, or the course did play about the same as you would expect based off of the previous years. A lot of the sports books, PrizePicks and Underdog, were thinking that was going to play a little bit easier than it did. And because of that, as a whole in round 1, it actually, and I probably should have done this with the recap, was a pretty decent day. Didn't hit a first round lead. That's really the only knock. Hit it last week with Patrick Cantlay, 28-1. But about 1.96 total units won in round 1. We'll take that. That's not bad at all. The round 3, or the 3-ball prop bets, went 2 for 3, which is obviously pretty good. Showdown wise, though, we typically know round 2 showdown is going to be the best for us. So kind of taking a peek at that, let's just take a peek at who are the best showdown plays. And so just right off the bat, I do want to call out that, Tony Finau and Emiliano Grillo, they're probably going to play better. Now, do you want to play Tony Finau that has the PM time. That's going to be up to you guys. I typically do like to target golfers in the AM. It's one way of A, reducing the player pool, and B, kind of just concentrating your player pool. But that typically naturally happens in round 2, given the adjustment that happens. If the AM tee times did play better in round 1, then naturally the PM tee times are going to get a bump. And so we have to do this right now. We're going to look at the late tee times because technically speaking, it is still round 1. Round 1 hasn't finished. So that's why we're doing it this way. But looking at it, like, I'd be perfectly happy to play Jaeger, Grillo, Davis, Dietrich, Patrick Rogers, EVR. The issue here is that we're not really getting that unique. Maybe Jonathan Vegas is how we get a little bit unique. He might be a little bit lower on, but we don't really care about ownership on showdown slates. It's typically pretty bad. So it's not really something you should worry about. Let's just take a peek at win rank as well, just real quick. Heading into round 2, who is the player that's most likely to win? Well, obviously EVR, Patrick Rogers, Matt Wallace, Lanto Griffin, Sammy. I wonder if that's how you say it. I gotta hear these names. MJ Duffy kind of popping up in there as well. If you want to, gain or make some bets on Jaeger, he's someone I don't mind as well. So definitely a route you can go. Let's actually take a peek at the strokes gain data as well. And so gotta adjust this to 1, just so we're only getting golfers in the field that do have PGA Tour data thus far. And a lot of people just like to look at strokes gained putting, which I'm fine with. So let's take a peek at that. And so, yeah, Thomas Dietrich is a play that does somewhat make sense in terms of probably going out and playing better. Okay, Thomas Dietrich on the season has been one of the better putters. We can see with Dietrich, he is, literally one of the better putters on the PGA Tour. And so this week, it might be the greens, it might be the pass volume greens getting to him right now. But yeah, he is doing terrible. Okay, minus 3.67 strokes lost putting. So you would expect him to improve that. Okay, so just so you guys know, like in terms of like the regression stat and looking at stuff like this, 2 completely different data points. So when, I know a lot of people like using this, but when like the 2 back up like this, that is something to pay attention to. A play that I kind of like, Kevin Daughtry, not terrible. Springer is kind of a play that low sample size, but he's been doing well putting wise thus far this season. He could get better. Alejandro Tosti, I do hope he makes a birdie on 18. I'll tell you that much, but he is someone that is expected to have a better night putting as well. So we can see live, he's losing almost a stroke putting. So this should flip. So if you're worried about him, this should flip. He should at least gain a stroke tomorrow putting. So not bad there. So we like that stat as well. And if we just look at the season stats as well, maybe strokes gained total, just in general, it is a smaller sample size for a lot of these guys, but we can kind of get a good gauge of who's going to play better. But let's jump back into putting just real quick as well, just to see maybe who's going to get worse. Who really putted well that's not going to putt as well? David Lipsky, so maybe not someone you want to target for showdown purposes. He is not expected to putt better. From there, Ches Reavie, Chan Kim, those are all golfers that are not expected to putt as good, and really just a lot of these guys. Actually, Tony Finau putted pretty well. And so he's got to be a little bit better off the tee, I'm guessing. So that's interesting. And let's just take a peek at strokes gained total, looking at this as well. David Lipsky, Vincent Norman. No shock with some of these guys that are popping up in terms of who are going to regress in the classical sense. Basically, we're just looking at who's going to regress to their mean. So like Thomas Dietrich, progression, if you will. He's going to have positive regression, whereas some of these other golfers are just going to regress negatively back to their mean. And then, we're not getting any prop bets just yet as well. So it's kind of a simple video today. So we're just looking at the top showdown picks. Jaeger is going to be a play that you want to target. Grillo, Davis Thompson's popping up in there as well. A good driver, typically someone that can score. Thomas Dietrich, not a lot of people are going to want to do that. So that could be a sneaky good play. Obviously going to improve putting. The question is, did he give up mentally? That's the biggest worry that we have with him. Patrick Rogers popping up in there. EVR going to probably be popular because he played well, but he's expected to continue to play well. Jonathan Vegas does feel like a good kind of risk reward play. Dylan Wu popping up in there, not terrible. You could easily go stars and scrubs though. That's the thing. And maybe if you want to sprinkle in Tony Finau in there a little bit, you can as well. But yeah, guys, with the round still going on and whatnot, the data will be updating after that. Check that out, especially for the lineup optimizer as well. So be on the lookout for that. If you guys want access to that tool, it is available at 9to5sports.com for just $10 a month. Thank you guys for watching. Let's have a good round 2 showdown. And as always, let's keep cashing.